This is Solus 4.3 with the Mate desktop. It's a fresh install. All I've done is changed the background and a few theming and colour and that sort of stuff to make it a bit easier for us on the eye with the video. So we'll just bring up some stuff I've got set up here. What we're going to do is set it up so that at login it automatically mounts a network share or a folder on the network, and that gives me access straight away to the files and folders on that share. I've done this on Linux Mint. The process is almost identical. There's just a couple of subtle changes, and let's get into it. So I can't make this any bigger down here. I don't know how to do that, but we're going to copy the text and paste it into the terminal. And I have made that a little bit bigger so you can hopefully read that in the terminal. So it's just going to make a directory, and we should see that turn up over here in the file manager. So we press enter, put in our password. As you can see, it's the first time I've used the terminal because we're getting our little warning there. So let's press enter. Our folder has turned up, so that's just a /media. So if you go to the file system, there's media, and there's that NASUSB. So yes, this is a USB drive plugged into my NAS server or my network attached server. Now in Linux Mint, I skipped this next step here because CIFS-UTILS are already installed, and the syntax is a little bit different here. So there's no apt-get in Solus. They use a different system. So we're going to go to the Software Center, and we're going to search CIFS. We'll do the trick. And there it is there, CIFS-UTILS. And we'll come back to that in a moment. The middle one is not installed either. And Samba is installed. Oh, that's interesting. Samba may not be installed. I must have installed it at some point. But nonetheless, usually installing the CIFS-UTILS normally drags Samba in with it. So we're going to hit install and our password. That looks like it's done. Now, as I say, if Samba was already installed on this system, so I have played with it a little bit by the look of it. And you can tell it's installed because of the remove buttons there. So, but on the other systems, I've been playing around with this over a few days. It seems to drag this one here. Whoops, that top one seems to drag Samba in with it. And we're now finished with the Software Center, so we'll just close that down. So that's that line there, or these two lines. So this is obviously already installed or not needed on Linux Mint 20, as I've made notes here in my little note. But I know we need it here, so that's done. Now we're going to save a copy of the fstab file, and I've got some code here for that, or some syntax, so we'll paste that in there as well. And that's just in case we make a mess of things. So that's done. And if you need to restore that, there's a command there to restore it. Next, we need to create a credentials folder. In this case, we're going to call it .smb credentials, or effectively .samba credentials. And we're just going to click on our username in the file manager. Right click, and I'm going to go create document, empty file, and I'm going to call it .smb credentials. Give that a moment to update. Here we go. And we're going to right click that, and we're going to open that in Pluma. So there's the empty file there. So here's our code that it's just on tabs, that's all. So here's our code or our instructions. And now what we're going to do, this is our username and password for the server that we're going to log into. So we're going to copy those and we're going to paste them into there. And no, that's not my actual password there. We're going to save that. And then we can just close out of there. Okay, so that's our SMB credentials. You could name it anything you want. It's just that down here, a bit later on, you'll see where that comes into it. Next, we just want to type into the terminal ID space and then your username. And this will just bring up some more information. So you can see UID 1000, GID, groups. Okay, I'm the only user of this computer. If you've got more than one user, that might show up as a different number. And same thing when we come down here in a moment, you'll see it's looking for GID and UID of 1000. So you obviously need to match those up. Next, we're going to edit the fstab file. And in Solus, this is the command sudo space nano space /etc/fstab. We press enter. And now with the down arrow, we're going to come down to this first vacant line there. And down here, I've copied this whole thing out like so. So we'll copy that and Control Shift and press V. We're holding down Control and Shift. We press V. Now I'm just going to stretch this out so you can see it. It should all be on one line. And there it is there. You can see mode 77700, the same as it is down there, all on one line. So here's the IP address and the share name on the server. This is where it's going to mount to on this machine, Media NASUSB, which we created at the beginning. CIFS-UTILS. You can see here it's getting its credentials from home username.smb credentials, and these are just other things. Don't even, or there's your GID 1000 and UID of 1000 that we did a few moments ago, and so forth. So I'll have all this in the description down the bottom. So that's looking pretty good. So now we hold down Control and press O, the letter O on the keyboard, and we press enter, and then we hold down Control and press X, and that brings us back to our terminal. Okay, so we've done all that. Now before rebooting, we want to test that it works, so we're going to put this into the terminal, and what you should see is over here on the file manager where it says NASUSB, where the mouse is hovering around there. You should see the little icon pop up there in a second. So let's press enter on that one. And so it's mounted, and we got no errors in the terminal. So if you get errors, you're going to have to fix those first, in which case you'll have to restore that fstab file, which we went through earlier on, before restarting, because there's a chance your computer might not restart if you've got some sort of error there. And this was the other little secret that I come across recently here, is I'll just paste that into the terminal, that one there. This command sudo systemctl enable remote-fs.target. So I'm just going to press enter on that, and I'll just show you. Just there. It's all good. And that's it, I'm done. I can just close all these down now. So as I say, that last step was the other one that's different than Linux Mint. So it's a CIFS-UTILS. Earlier on we needed to install, and that very last step we just did there. So let's restart. So here we are, we've restarted and logged back in. We can see the network mount up there, and if we start the file manager, we can see there it is there as well in the file manager. Most of this has come from this article here, which again I'll link in the description. Now your mount point and your share name are probably going to be different, so you might want to put it at MNT, and you know, whatever your share name, that just happens to be my share name, NASUSB. And the same as I mentioned before, when you do ID your username, you may or may not be 1000, so you'll need to match that up when you get the output from the terminal with these ones down here on this big long line. So some of these specifics here are going to be a little bit different on my system than what they're going to be on yours. I obviously have SMB or Samba enabled on my server, and that's about all I need there. And there again, this is the this one down the bottom here. That was the get out of jail card for me right there. As soon as I put that in, everything worked. There you go, we've just added some more Sol to our Solus system. Hope it helped you out.